money that were used in the space exploration. However, NASA is not a thing that the USA has made just to get its workers. NASA works with many other companies which makes iron, and a lot of scientists are currently researching about space exploration in the NASA right now. Therefore, if the fundings are cut into NASA, then the companies which are making money by selling their products to NASA will not be able to stand. To continue with the two. To propose the two new arguments of the opposition side, the first argument this speaker would present is that the space exploration, it will enhance the relationship between countries. Although the government side has proposed that it might actually the space exploration was made because of the Cold War. However, long ago, countries which were fighting in the Cold War are now actually working together in order to fight. Yes, sir.
I clearly fail to see Russia and the United States working together as friends.
To explain, countries that were in the Cold War, such as the Prime Minister has suggested, Russia and America are working together in order to build the same space satellites, such as and to build the International Space Station. And with the help of Russia, the country South Korea were able to put their first astronaut into space. And to continue, space exploration is a complicated business. So more countries will have to work with each other in order to make. No, thank you, sir. Will have to work together in order to fulfill their dream of space exploration. And to continue with the fourth argument to be proposed by the opposition, space exploration is natural in human's nature. By space exploration, human will be able to answer some of the most fundamental questions that we all ask. Is there other living things in outer space, and what lies beyond the Milky Way? Every civilization has always asked this question. And develop this science and cosmology. Yes, sir.
Are you suggesting that hundreds and possibly thousands, if we're going to continue investing in space exploration, is worth the cost of answering a simple question?
Although the Deputy Prime Minister has concluded that explaining the questions is a simple question. However, it is a question that was asked since the beginning of human life forms, and it is the question that we will continue to ask until we fulfill the dream of space exploration. And no, thank you, sir. And to continue, every civilization has always asked this question, and now that we are developed in technological and scientific ways, we may be able to answer this question. The speaker has told you that the space exploration will be able to enhance the relationship between other countries, and also will be able to answer some of the questions asked by the civilizations throughout the human life. And this is the space exploration is not only related to the economic or the technological benefits, but it will also solve some of the social and moral problems made by the countries that are in war or that were in war long time ago. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, we beg to oppose the motion. Thank you.
Enough is enough, and it's time to get tough. We have suffered, ladies and gentlemen, too many losses from this extensive project of space exploration. We cannot go on any further. We must end right now. This House would end space exploration. That's the motion that we have today. I, as a member of the government, will go on to expand our arguments and rebut the previous speaker. Now, going on to rebuttals. There were four main rebuttals which I caught today from the previous speaker. First of all, the spin-off theory. The spin-off theory. Yes, we do not deny that there have been many spin-offs from space exploration. But do you not think that those inventions could have been invented later on under a different situation when the pressure was applied to humankind? That is a logical fallacy, ladies and gentlemen. And moreover, the second rebuttal, losing jobs. Well, NASA will still maintain the satellites. NASA will keep on to go on with explorations within the Earth and within the atmosphere of the Earth. So we do not see any yes, there might be a little job loss, but not detrimental enough to actually affect the society or the economy as a whole. No, thank you. Now, the third rebuttal, enhancing relationships between countries. Of course, as the first government team has actually mentioned in their POIs, there is no sign of cooperation between the countries. Instead, no, thank you. Instead, there is competition between countries such as the US and Russia. They are now working together to actually obtain this level of space exploration. They're competing together. Relationships are going to get worse, not better.
On that point, ma'am,
Yes, ma'am.
we have given you an example of cooperation between Russia and USA, such as the International Space Station. How would you explain that?
But do you think it will go on further? Do you think it will extend into other areas? If Russia and the America discovers that they will gain more benefits by working alone and actually want to gain the advantages for themselves, then their relationships will eventually fall apart. And of course, that was just one project they worked together. There's a history, a complete history of those events in which cooperation has not worked. Out of order, ma'am, sir. And the last argument, natural. That is natural for the humans to be curious about what's out there. Well, is that sufficient, ladies and gentlemen? Is that actually practical when there are thousands, millions of people dying out here, over here? There are more things to do. And what are we going to do if we answer the question? If we find a solution to the question that there might be life on Earth, life beyond, what are we going to do with that? Are we going to communicate? Are we going to make colonies? No, that is not practical, ladies and gentlemen. Moreover, there are cheaper explorations that we could do within Earth, such as going to the bottom of the ocean. Many fantasies, many things to explore there. Less money. Okay, now going on to substantial arguments. First of all, as the government introduced the economy policies, we shall actually go on to the environmental aspects. The environmental access. Space exploration litters Earth by debris, satellites. It poses harmful threats by exuding dangerous substances out to space. First of all, even without any space exploration from now on, the number of space junk in space will actually steadily increase. Because of the Earth's atmosphere is so dense, it will result in collision between the debris when the more space junks come. There are less than 8,000 ineffective particles in 2008. There will be 10,000 after 100 years in 2100. Moreover, no, thank you. There will be harm on the citizens as well for their health. More than 20 million Americans were contaminated with perchlorate used in the Cold War period for space exploration. What happened to those citizens? They were inhabited, their hormone production and delivery system were actually contaminated. So they suffer from hair loss, depression, anxiety. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the government's responsibility to actually consider the safety and the health of the citizens as well. Moreover, the opposition might actually provide these so-called solutions, these regulations, but aren't they too idealistic, too difficult to sustain, too many loopholes in which they can actually save the environment through space exploration? No, we cannot save the environment through space exploration. We shall end up contaminating nature and the environment in Earth and beyond Earth. So we shall end space exploration on these aspects. Moreover, the spin-off theory. Well, we actually found in our arguments that there are bad influences of spin-off theory, the scientific aspects. First of all, satellites, satellite telecommunication. There are technologies which were derived from space exploration. However, because of their event, they resulted in a loss of privacy. All of our messages now can be intercepted.
On that point, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you suggesting?
Wait, out of order. Yes, sorry. Anyway, for example, the Central Intelligence Agency, the use of technology for their own interests. Well, there could be corruption along these lines. Moreover, terrorists disrupt GPAs as well as using it for targeting. For instance, crashing influences into skyscrapers and space exploration uses on that. And it takes too much money to control these scientific developments, so we just not develop any further. And because of these reasons, we stand firmly to propose this motion. Thank you.
We are here on the motion that this House would end space exploration, and I am the first speaker of the closing opposition. Now, first, we are here with the stance that the value of importance of scientific progress and curiosity that people possess on Earth. But first, before I go to my extensions, I would like to rebut to many of the arguments that were presented by the government side, and then my second colleague will then refute to the arguments that were presented again by their side, and then summarize and prove to you why we have led a better debate. Well, first question that I really want to ask the government is that if they care so much about the environment, so much about people's health, why don't they cut off on stuff that actually hurts our own people? One fact, $586.5 billion are spent on gambling, 31 billion on tobacco, 58 billion on alcohol. Things that actually damage our own citizens' health are being spent more than 4 times as much as the benefits that these NASA programs are actually providing us. Now, I'd like to first refute to one of the government's argument of how it is unethical. Well, like I have stated, that the government is using $586.5 billion just on gambling. So why don't we cut off, no thank you, why don't we cut off fundings for these, why do we, yes?
Sir. Why can't we cut them both? Why don't we cut both gambling and space exploration? The fact that gambling costs a lot of money does not justify the waste of money of space exploration. Could you elaborate on that?
That will go on to an extension of the efficiency of what NASA actually have provided us and how it affects us in our daily life. Now, if they were to be so ethical, why don't we cut off fundings for something like these, like gambling, tobacco, alcohol? Isn't it for our own benefit of our own citizens? And they have said, is it well spent? But I have already stated that much more money is actually flowing out of the U.S. government on unneeded things that actually hurt our environment and damages our own people. And from the, no thank you. And from the extension, well, I will provide you more than seven examples of how these are actually benefited our own daily lives and how these are actually saving countless lives today here on Earth. And they have talked about impracticality, and they said that we could develop technology on other areas as well, but do they realize that space exploration is one of the leading and most highly recognized scientific improvement in the history of mankind? Now, first I would like to go on to my extension and then rebut to their extension of how it does not really relate. Now, to give you an overview of our extension, we'll first provide you the consequences if we stop space exploration. But before that, we'd also like to give you some of the benefits that these space exploration have given us. Now, first, they have already stated the GPS system. Now, there are also benefits like, yes?
Could you please stop being redundant?
Yes. Other examples, Hubble telescope, MRI, yes, they have said broadcasting, but moreover, efficiency of fuel, microchip, all of these were actually driven from NASA spin-offs. Now, what does this tell us? How many lives did our weather satellite provide for us? How many lives did it save? How many tsunamis, how many hurricanes did it provide? And how many shelters did it provide beforehand? How many lives did we save? Now, there are over 100 benefits that NASA spin-offs have actually given us. And this is a small price of 0.8% of our tax, 0.8%. And let me mention, over the last year, we only spent $15.5 billion. Only $15.5 billion compared to the $586.5 billion just on the fact of, no thank you, that ruins our own citizens' life. And 75, even more, on the Iraqi war, just following up from the last year. Now, so what? Now, why does this really matter? Well, we say to you, we beg you to understand that 0.8% of our tax is being spent on such dramatic advancements in our technology, and it's even helping the lives of many that we have today here. Now, yes, we believe that this 0.8% could be actually used on other stuff, and of course, that money would actually, I agree to them, will be efficient in using someone else, but we believe that using it on space exploration will also bring direct and indirect benefits like the inventions that we have stated here today. Now, so what is the basic summary? What have I told you today? Well, we have told you certain facts that actually the government, if they were so caring about human rights, if they're so caring about the health of their own citizens, that they should be fund cutting on things that actually damage our own citizens. Damaging, no thank you. And so what we have proposed to you today is why do we have to cut off funding on one of the most leading scientific advancements on man history that has provided so much on our health and other aspects of everyday life. You know, we beg you to understand the benefits that these provide you, and we beg the government to also understand that they could be cutting funding on other aspects of society that does not help our own citizens. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Madam Speaker, enough is enough, and it's time to get tough. Enough of space exploration, enough of economic misuse, enough of environmentally harmful space exploration, and enough of bad influence. Madam Speaker, Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen, this is the reason why this IV ties, the closing government will call their bluff on the opposition and why the ending of space exploration is necessary and hope for the nation. Now, as the fourth speaker of the government, I'd like to first list the clashes that happened during this debate and show you why in each of the clashes we the closing government, had clear win this debate. 1. On efficiency. They say, ladies and gentlemen, that there were $17.1 billion spent on development of electronics, helmet, and fabric. But should we really spend $17.1 billion to actually develop an electronics and help? No, thank you, sir. No, thank you, ma'am. And electronics and helmet and fabrics. There are so few benefits. No, thank you, sir. There's so few benefits if you think about this motion. And there were even bad emphasis of spin-offs that we had, such as terrorists, as the third speaker of the opposition, third speaker of the government mentioned. When we were developing helmets, the terrorists were disturbing the GPS. No, thank you, sir, ma'am. The GPS system, and then they're attacking other nations. We should not ignore the situation because that will eventually exacerbate the situation in the status quo and will only lead to bad consequences. Now, yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
So is the government proposing that if we did not have weather satellites and GPS systems, the terrorists would not be attacking us?
Well, terrorists wouldn't be attacking us so easily because there weren't such technology that can help them attack. So they also said that because people are so curious about the Earth and it's human nature to be curious, it is crucial that for them that we should achieve the dream. But why aren't they curious about the poverty, education, and more serious situations that we have in the status quo? They should be curious about the people in need, not people outside of the Earth. We don't know even if people are existing outside of the world, and this is too much for us. So isn't space exploration for the general well-being of humankind? If you think about this, ladies and gentlemen, if we started this space exploration for the general well-being of humankind, then we see that this is clearly wrong, and this clearly induces harsher consequences. Now, moving on to the second clash, whether it is the government's responsibility to